Hi ladies, how are you? Nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you. Okay, we're going to speak today about Yosef Hatzadik. Okay, these are the parashot, Vayeshev, Miketz, Vayigash. Okay, we're talking about this great person, and if we have the time, we're going to speak even more. Let's start with the story. Rav Moshe Pardo, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, was the one that founded Yeshivat, a seminar Orach Chaim for girls in Bnei Brak. It's a Sephardi seminar, has a dormitory. It's a big campus. Basically, they teach them their not only education, but also, they learn skills and they work afterwards. And in order, usually it's aimed for girls that are not coming from religious homes, and many of the parents cannot even pay the tuition, and it has dormitories. So basically, they give everything to the girls outside the house so that they won't have to go back home because the houses are not religious. And you understand that there's more than 1,000 girls there. You understand that this institution needs a lot of fundraisings and a lot of money. So Rav Pardo used to travel a lot all over the globe to raise money for this institution. One time he was in LA, I guess, in San Francisco, far place from Jewish community. But he was supposed to meet a rich guy there, when all of a sudden he felt that he had a very high temperature and he needed to see a doctor. So until he found his doctor, he got to him, he started to talk to him and explain what happened. So the doctor said, sure, fine, okay, so take off your shirt, I'll check you. He takes off his shirt and he sees talit katan. He sees, the little tzitzi that he has. So he's like, people still have those? I know that once people used to have it, but nowadays people still have those? The rabbi said, what are you talking about? Of course people have it. Go to Israel, you see thousands and thousands of families of people that are wearing talit katan, they're wearing tzitzit, of course. And also in America, in many communities, people wearing talit katan, of course. What are you talking about? He said, I didn't know people still have them. He was Jewish, this doctor, but was far from religion. I guess didn't practice religion for a long time already. He didn't believe that people are still religious. And then, so they started talking, and the rabbi told him that he has this institution, and that, all the girls that graduating this school afterwards get married to guys that wear this talit katan, and then they wear tefillin, and they learn Torah, and they keep Shabbat, they're observing everything. He was very impressed, the doctor. And when after he prescribed the doctor, the rabbi, the medicine, the rabbi wanted to pay him. He said, no, I don't want to take money from you. The rabbi insisted, and he didn't want to take money. So he told him, I have something for you. He took out from his bag a very, very expensive tefillin. Now this tefillin he used to carry and to give it especially to very, very wealthy donors that were not observing. Not a regular tefillin, very expensive one. He used to give it to them as a present or something. And he told him, listen, I have this thing for you. I want you to wear it. And the doctor is like, people still have those? It's ancient thing. And he said, of course, what are you talking about? And he taught him how to put that tefillin and this. So before they departed, the rabbi gave him his business card. He told him, anytime you want to visit in Israel, please come, take my phone number, take my address, or whatever. And fine, the rabbi thought in his mind that he had to be delayed in LA, he had to be sick and meet this doctor in order to teach him what is talit, what is tefillin, to give him a tefillin, so that another Jew far, far away, would put on tefillin or something. This is what was his understanding. One day he was sitting in his office in Bnei Brak, and this doctor came to visit him. Of course, he was very delighted to meet him, and he told him, come, I'll show you the place. And he made a tour with him. Took him almost 1 hour to show him all the place, the campus, all these labs and the rooms and whatever they were there. And as they sat back in his office, he tells him, no. The doctor said, listen, I'm very impressed. I really like what you do. I want to tell you something. I'm a very, very lonely man. And I am very, very wealthy man. I have so much assets, and I want to donate you everything that I have to this institution. The Rabbi is really, and he really had, I don't know how many millions that he gave this. Basically, so sometimes, the rabbi back in LA thought that he was delayed in that place in order to help this guy. He didn't know that he helps assist big time his own institution, the fact that he got sick. And so sometimes we think that we understand Hashem, okay? We don't really see the whole picture, we don't really understand everything. And basically, this principle, we see it all this time during this parashot, that whenever we speak about Yosef Hatzadik, his brothers selling Yosef, him becoming a slave in Egypt, and all whatever he went through. So the sun is rising every morning, okay? The world is beautiful. The life are beautiful. People can do so much in this lifetime. However, there are some people that is a big, big, dark, black cloud in their room. They don't really see the light. It's very, very difficult. It's called a test, a nisayon. When people go through struggle, and people go through all kind of tests. There's all type of tests that people go through. However, this dark cloud fills them up so much, it's hard for them sometimes to breathe because it fills up the whole heart. And of course, it's hard for them to see the light. Some tests that people go through, they're very painful. Some, make people fear. They don't know what to do. They tremble from fear sometimes. Some fears are making people sad very much, throw them into depression. It's hard for them to see joy in the world. It's hard for them to laugh. It's hard for them to experience any kind of happiness. How can you see the light also in darkness? Is it possible to see the light also in darkness? It says, King David says in Tehillim, Rabim machovim larasha, a wicked man goes through many pains, והבוטח בהשם חסד יסובבנו. Whoever trusts Hashem, Hashem surrounds him with kindness. Okay, this is what it says. Years ago, when people had to take a medicine, so they had to take a medicine. What could you do? Medicine usually are bitter, are ugly taste. Some are very salty, some are very sharp taste, bitter. And what can you do? If you want to heal yourself, you have to take it, you have to swallow it, and there's no choice. You have to do it. Later on, they found that you could put this powder, whatever the drug, the medicine, into a capsule, and then you swallow up the capsule. So you don't feel so much the bitterness of the taste of this drug, of this medicine. The question is, what is this capsule that we can use whenever people go through struggles and tough life, so that they won't have to feel the bitterness, okay, the pain of the struggle that they go through. And the answer, there is a capsule like that. Whenever you know that God is the one that darkens your day, but also can light it too, this is so much easier to cope whenever you know that Hashem controls everything and Hashem decides on everything, and He's the one that pulls the strings. Hashem doesn't wait for us outside the pain. He is with us within the pain. He counts our tears. He feels the pain. He cries with us. You know, Hashem doesn't like to punish us or to make us suffer for no reason. And so he in a way, it's hard for us to see what's the goodness in this. What do I see from this? How do I see that it's for my own benefit? But full trust in Hashem means that this darkness at this moment is the best for me. Why? I don't know. I don't know why it's for the best for me. But this is how it is. And so once we understand it, this is what reduces this sharpness and this bitterness of these drugs. So again, sometimes people have these binoculars where they has infrared light, right? So regularly on darkness you cannot really see, but if you put those binoculars on, all of a sudden you can see all kind of stuff, right? This is in a way, through the pain you don't see the problem, but there are some people that have the merit, that have the zchut to see through this hidden light what Hashem wants from them, what's their purpose, and how they're supposed to conduct themselves through the pain. Yosef Hatzadik was one of these people that had this merit to see Hashem with him through the pain. And the Sfat Emet once said that when Yosef Hatzadik revealed himself to his brothers, he said, Ani Yosef. Twice he said, Ani Yosef. Why you have to say twice Ani Yosef? He said, I am the same Yosef that, was living with you when I was younger. I'm the same Yosef now. Even though now I'm the second to the king and I'm in such a high position, I'm still the same Yosef. But I want you to understand something. When the brothers saw Yosef, he's the king now. They were so scared. They got so scared. Why? Because they said to themselves, there's no chance in the world that a man that is sold for slavery, okay, could become a king. There's no chance like that. Slavery in Egypt 4,000 years ago, it's a prescription for death. They cannot really survive for a long time. People abuse them. People do all kinds of stuff with them. They don't eat. They don't drink. They don't see the light anymore. That's it. They're in the dungeon and that's it. There's no hope. And Yosef Hatzadik, okay, elevated himself over there. How come? So the brothers were astonished whenever they saw Yosef Hatzadik in this position. They say, if he got elevated in this kind of circumstance, imagine to yourself what would be if he would stay next to our father, keep learning Torah all the time, and Yaakov taught whatever he knew to Yosef. Imagine to yourself how much more elevated he would be as he would stay and learn Torah all the time by our father. Yosef told them, don't think like that. I am Yosef Hatzadik because I went through the struggles and the problems that I went through, not because I stayed next to my father. So sometimes we think that the pain and the struggles that we go through can break us. Yes, they can. But you take it and you elevate yourself through the pain, through the trouble. I don't know if you know this story. There was this man that his job back in the time whenever we didn't have water running in our faucets, so he used to draw water from the well, okay, and then he had this big, huge, rod or stick or something, And on top of this, he would put those 2 buckets from each side, and he would carry it and sell it to the people. However, one of the pails, one of the buckets that he had was perfect, new, nice, beautiful. The other one was cracked. It was an old one already. So as he would carry the water into people's houses, it would drip, 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 until it comes to someone's house, it's already empty, half empty. So in a way, the cracked bucket always felt embarrassed, felt ashamed that he doesn't do his job in a complete way. What is this? However, some time passed, a year or 2 years, the man realized that in the side where the new bucket is, there's some grass, there's a lot of stones, nothing special. But on the other side, when the cracked bucket is, a lot of wildflowers grew there, beautiful, magnificent, nice flowers grew there because of this water that drip, 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 drip all the way. This path was beautiful and nice, right? So, yes, a struggle is not a pleasant thing, but sometimes something good can come out of it, okay? And Yosef Hatzadik became Yosef Hatzadik because he went through these struggles over there and was able to withstand the trials and the tests that Hashem put him there in Egypt. So this is what we're talking about. Why was Yosef called this tzaddik? Yosef, if you think about this, never jumped into a furnace of fire like Avraham Avinu. Okay? If you think about this, he wasn't the chief rabbi of his family or nothing special. He never got any prophecy or anything of this. Think about this. Yosef Hatzadik was lonely most of his life. But lived in he lived in wealth most of his life. Yeah, he had some difficult years in the beginning, but then most of his years he lived in a palace. He looked like Egyptian. He spoke Egyptian. He was a man that was so much this world man. He was so much into business. He was in charge of all the financial development of Egypt of those days. And Egypt was an empire. It's like the America of today. It was the biggest empire of those years, Egypt, right? And he was in charge of everything. Okay? He was in charge of all their events, whether it's financial events or cultural events, okay? So if we look at this way, in an external look, yeah, he lived like very material type of life. But Yosef never mingled with the Egyptians. He stood tall and alone, because he didn't believe, Egypt, it's called Ervat Haaret, is the most filthy, the most contaminated place. There's no purity in Egypt. And he lived most of his life in this type of area, with his family, with his children later on also. And stood and stayed Yosef Hatzadik. And again, it's not like Yaakov was learning Torah all the time. Abraham, Yitzchak was learning all the time. He was outside of Israel, okay, with Egyptians all the time, lived like, in a way, it looks like non-Jew, in a very, very wealthy type of lifestyle. However, so much different than all of them. So in the beginning, he was in a pit. The brothers threw him into the pit. And later on, he was in Egypt with his, which you can call it a golden, deep pit, okay? Stayed in Egypt, in this empire, and it's not like they forced on him a different culture, a different religion. No, it's not like that. It's just that because if something like that happens, if somebody comes and assaults you and attacks you, you know how to defend yourself. You know how to fight back. You know you're going to resist. Right? But when everything is pleasant next to you, when your life is so comfortable, when people around you respect you because you're the second to the king, when everything is so smooth and beautiful, let's see how Yosef Hatzadik stays Yosef Hatzadik. Let's see how he stays righteous, how he sticks to his values, to his beliefs in this type of lifestyle, when everything is pleasant and everything is nice. So, when in a place that everyone lives a sinful life, when men are with men, and when women look up to him so much that they throw presents to him, just come to me, just be with me, and stuff like that. He could control people. He could, he was able to control people. He was able to control them financially. He was able to control them in any type of a thing. And when you get so much power, you get corrupted. There's no such a way that a person in such a high position won't fail even once. Not financially, when all the money of the world is in your hands. Not modestly, when, you could be basically. Not spiritually, not to have problems with emunah. Where is Hashem? Why is not helping me? Why am I alone? Why my brother sold me? It could be the most bitter person on earth. And this is a real righteousness. Whenever you stand tall with your beliefs, you're alone, but you know that you have your values and you're not going to compromise your values no matter what. King David said something very strong about him in Tehillim. He said, Le'eved nimkar Yosef, he was sold to become a slave. Inu bakevel raglo, they chained him with iron chains. Barzel ba'a nafsho, this wife of Potiphar, used to put, she used to threaten him and put him a knife here and say, if you're not going to listen to me, I'm going to slaughter you or do something. At bod dvaro, until he was redeemed, imrat Hashem tzaraftahu, the laws of Hashem refined him. What do I mean by the laws of Hashem refined him? So the wife of Potiphar, she did whatever she could to seduce Yosef to be with her. She used any means to get his attention. Every morning, noon, evening, she used to change clothing, puts different perfume every time, tried to get attention through this, through that, whatever, food, money, She offered him money, 1,000 coins of silver to be with her. Can you believe such a thing? She used to tell him, if you're not going to listen to me, I'm going to put you in jail. He used to tell her, Hashem releases the bound people. Hashem, if you're not going to listen to me, I'm going to bend you, make you, you're going to crawl on the ground over there, work very hard and do all kind of stuff. He said, Hashem, stand upright, the bent ones. Yeah, I'm going to blind you. He said, Hashem gives the sight to the blind. I'm going to, whatever. She couldn't do anything. He would refuse her constantly. And so one day when no one was at home, yes, she caught him forcefully, to be with her. And he, when you are in such a test that you don't know what to do, that the evil inclination catches you, the best thing that you could do is to run away. Not to say maybe, not to start to convince her, not to talk her out of it. No, just run away from this. So he left his clothing and ran away. So it looks like, okay, the test is over. Now everything is okay. No. the hardest test came afterwards. So okay, he was able to control himself in adultery. He didn't commit adultery with, she was a married woman, he didn't commit adultery. But now what happens? Now he's thrown to this dungeon. And now, when someone, we're talking about Egypt 4,000 years ago, there is no something like to get out in bail. There is no such something like, to free you for, or to cut your punishment because of a good behavior. There is no such a thing as I'll bribe here, I'll do this, or whatever. There is no such a thing as a servant or somebody that is thrown to the jail never comes out. And people, they use these slaves in the prisons in a very bad way. They torture them, they abuse them physically, spiritually, mentally, sexually, everything they do there. Yosef, if you think about this, couldn't think of any hope to get out of this place. There is no such a thing that he didn't know. We see the picture of Yosef, we see the scene, in a different perspective. So we knew that after 12 years he left. But he didn't know that he will be leaving this place after 12 years. So in his eyes, there was no hope that he would leave this place ever. Okay? Now, in this place, he's in the jail. And he may think to himself, so did I do good or wrong the fact that I refused the wife of Potiphar? If I would agree, I wouldn't rot here in the jail. So what was better? So his evil inclination could play on him constantly, each and every day from the beginning. You did wrong. You did wrong. You had to listen to her. What did you gain from this that you refused? And this is the biggest test that Yosef had to go through each and every day. It's not an easy thing. To be alone, to be in dark, to be in such a circumstance, and to have emunah, Hashem, you're everything, and you're good, and everything will be okay. So, wasn't it worthy? Wasn't it better maybe to do the sin? Maybe, I wouldn't be here. But Yosef never regret. Yosef never regret that he was Yireh Hashem, that he feared Hashem and he didn't want to do this. And this is what it says, Imrat Hashem Tzavta. Tzavta means, like the same way you take a gold and you refine it and you refine it and it becomes pure gold. This is what Hashem did to Yosef, and this is why he was called Yosef Hatzadik. So this is number one. Number two, another attribute, another character trait that Yosef Hatzadik had was this aspiration to become great. This is a very important thing. And I will explain it through a story. True story. I just read it. This happened recently in Israel. There was a guy that went to learn in a yeshiva in Israel. However, he didn't get along there for some reason. And so he went down in his studies, didn't get along with the teacher, with the Rebbe, didn't get along also afterwards, also socially, because when you're not the smartest in class, the kids are not looking at you. And then he had these problems with attitude, this, that, whatever. He told his parents he doesn't want to go to the yeshiva anymore. And he doesn't want to go to any yeshiva anymore. And he decided to stay home. The parents didn't know what to do. They were trying, through this rabbi, through that rabbi. Didn't work. The guy didn't want to go anywhere. Stayed home. So it was a few months after the school started. It was closer to Pesach now. And he thought to himself, I need the money. What should I do? So he put an ad, and he offered himself that he could clean people's houses before Pesach. So he goes from this family here, this family needs them there, right? Baruch Hashem, whoever found him, whoever started to use him was this rabbi by the name Rabbi Stern, I believe, from the Nebuch. Okay. Right away, Rabbi and Mrs. Stern understood that this guy he was in yeshiva and he dropped from the yeshiva. And this is when they started to change, the attitude towards him. They start telling him, "You're a yeshiva boy, and we feel so bad that we have to make you work so hard. Please, please, please." They used to tell him, "No, please, you don't clean the bathroom. It's not a job for you. No. A bachur yeshiva, a yeshiva boy shouldn't do such a thing." And then he had to move a very, very heavy furniture. No, please don't drag this furniture so alone by yourself. A yeshiva boy should have a honor, and we really honor you, and we don't want to. Everything he wanted to do, they say like that. They used to serve him coffee or tea with a very good cake. They used to give him to sit every now and then to rest. And, used to respect him so much. He felt very good. He used to come home, and slowly, his mother sees that there's a change. He used to tell her, I really have to go to Shachrit in the morning also. He dropped from praying in a minyan. Because Rabbi Stern, he prays every day in the minyan, and his wife admires it so much. I know that it's important. He started to go to pray in the minyan. And then he started to tell her, I need to go and study here a little bit as I want to understand something. They gave him so much honor as the fact that he was the yeshiva boy, that right after Pesach, he told his parents that he wants to go to yeshiva again. What happened? And they reevaluated him again, the school, the administration, or whatever, and the principal was shocked. He said, "It's not the same boy. What happened to him? He has such a better attitude now. He wants to learn. He wants to progress. It's not, whatever he used to be before." How did this happen? This old couple felt that this boy needs its honor. Once he got a little bit some honor, once he got some greatness, once he felt a little bit good about himself, he started to aspire higher. He started to think that he's capable, that he's able, that he will be able to go through, he will be able to do it. So this is what we're talking about, Yosef Hatzadik over here. Yosef Hatzadik was always this, he was born perfect. His mother was perfect. His mother was beautiful. And she brought to the world Yosef and Binyamin, both perfect children, beautiful kids that aspire to greatness. They say about Binyamin that he never made any sin in his life. He was one of these 4 people that didn't have to die, that died just because of the chet of Adam HaRishon, the sin of Adam. He didn't have to, he was perfect, and so was Yosef. And Yaakov saw it. So he made him, thank you so much, thank you. So he made him this special garment, kutonos pasim, especially for this boy. Why? Because he felt that this boy needs it. He's looking for it, and he needs that. The brothers didn't get it this way, his sons. They got jealous. How come you favor him more than the others? So they didn't like it. But if it's only for Yosef, Yaakov felt it, Yosef needed it. And therefore he did that. So, Yosef, you see from the word, Yosef in Hebrew means addition. Always wants more. Wants to become more great, more higher, to get more elevated. That's the meaning of the name Yosef. And so he was also this one that used to dreams that he's going to become a king one day. And this bichlal, the brothers hated that and got jealous more and more. So a one that aspires to greatness, how can he make sins? See? One of the reasons that Yosef Hatzadik didn't sin with the wife of Potiphar is because how can I, a perfect son of Yaakov Avinu, can do such a thing? It's not to me. No, it's not me. I cannot really do that. This is what saved him from the sin. So if you aspire to greatness, if you know how much you're worth, you know who you are, It could help you so much with all kind of other struggles. You also go to college. You also go to work in a place that maybe not religious people, maybe a lot of men working there. People give you attention, people give you a compliment, and you may say to yourself, okay, what's the big deal? But if you know who you are, you know what you stand for, you know your values, okay? So you're going to, because you're so great, because you're so important, because you're Bat Israel, you know your limits, and you know you're not going to cross those lines. Next thing, he's a dreamer. Very important to dream. When you dream, you have all kinds of expectations. You aspire to even greater stuff, you know. If you dream certain things, you don't stay low, you know. You don't. You want to become bigger. You want to become greater. You want to do something in your life. Okay. You want to make a change, make a difference, and this is what Yosef did. Yosef, he changed. You know, it's very important how you interpret a dream. And Yosef interpreted it to the good, to the bad. He knew that he's going to be a king one day. He knew, because he saw it in his dreams. And he knew that he's going to see his brothers, and he's going to rule over, you know, become more great than them. He would just keep waiting for this dream to happen. So he thought about tikkun olam. He wanted to fix the world. He wanted the whole world to believe in Hashem. You know, he thought about redemption. You know, when we think very deep about his dreams, this is what we understand. And so, in order to execute these dreams, you need to solve it in the right way. And this is what Yosef was doing. Next thing, which is very important, is Ain Tova. מה זה Ain Tova? Good eye. When Rachel gave birth to Yosef, this is the time that Yaakov understood that he has to leave Lavan. Hello? He had Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. Yehuda is not a simple person. He's also a king. He had so many of them, he didn't feel he's ready to leave. Only when Yosef was born, this is when he felt that he's ready to leave. He will be able to fight against Esau. Esau was his biggest problem. It was the biggest enemy, and he was scared of him. Now that I have Yosef, I could fight against him. Why? Why the fact that he has Yosef now, he could fight with him? So it says, והיה, בספר עובדיה it says, והיה בית יוסף לאש, in the future, house of Yaakov is going to be a fire, ובית יוסף להבה, the house of Yosef is going to be a flame, and בית עשיו לקש, and the house of Esau will be a straw. Okay? So, a fire is fine, but you need a flame in order to catch the fire, to ignite the straw, but then he's going to consume and burn down all this straw. And the only one that could do it is Yosef. Why Yosef? Of course, Mashiach. When Yaakov went to meet Esau, he was a little bit stressful about this because he understood that Esau comes with 400 men with him. What is this 400 men? What is the significance of the number 400? Where's the first time that we hear about the number 400, you know? In the Tanakh, in the Torah? Huh? Huh? Yafeh, Ephron. It says that when Abraham wanted to buy a lot to bury his wife Sarah, so Ephron in the beginning told him any amount, it doesn't matter. But then he took from him an exaggerated price, 400 amount. It's a huge number. It wasn't worth so much, you know, this field. But Abraham paid him, no matter. And so Ephron means he was ra'ain. He was stingy. And he wasn't pleasant. He wasn't happy with whatever he had. Always wanted more. Also, you know, and whatever Abraham gave wasn't enough to him. Ephron, Gematria, is also 400. This is the way they also 400. Okay, Ra'ain. The Kliyaka continues and telling that the brothers of Yosef got jealous at him. They had Ain Ra on him, on the Ktonot Pasim that he got. And because of selling Yosef, they end up being 400 years in slavery in Egypt. 400 is the number. It's from the birth of Yitzchak, but this is the number. And when Esau came with 400 men, he also got jealous of all the wealth of Yaakov Avinu, so he came with 400. It was never enough for him whatever he had. Whenever he met Yaakov, what did he say? You don't have to give me so much. Yesh li rav, I have enough. Enough means I don't have enough. Yaakov said, Yesh li kol, I have everything, so I'm fine. Yeah, so the only one that could fight against Esau is Yosef. Why? Rabbi Yonatan Ebeshitz explained it, that in the future, Esau is going to ask the brothers, why did you have to sell yourself? Why did you hate your brother? What did he do to you? Okay, I was hating my brother, whatever, we didn't get along. But why did you have to sell your brother? So the only one that could answer him was Yosef, because Yosef never hated back. Yosef never held grudge, and he was kind with his brothers. Whenever they came to Egypt, and they didn't have anything. They came, they didn't mind to be slaves to him, right? He was kind to them. He was taking care of them. He was devoted to them. He was thinking, the only reason that he made so much revolutions there with the financial is so that his brothers are not going to feel like strangers there. He was caring so much about them, okay? So he's the one that could answer Esau. And therefore, Yaakov Avinu blessed him with Ain Ra'ah. Ain Ra'ah shouldn't control him. He was always protected from Ain Ra'ah. This is because he has a good eye. Ben Porat Yosef, Ben Porat Ale Ain. And he was the one that came in front of his mother. Didn't want Esau to put his eye on her. He stood, a small boy stood in front of his mother. So Yaakov loved this so much. He said, Ben Porat Yosef, and so he's going to be protected. So people who are blessed in such a thing can also bless, can affect, can influence on other people. And this was Yosef. And with his flame, you will be able to consume the bad eye of Esau Rasha. If you think about this, every time we have to fight against Amalek, which is the descendant of Esau, Yoshua used to be sent, or any descendant of Rachel, of the children of Rachel. So Yoshua fought against Esau, against Amalek. Later on, Shaul was fighting against Amalek, and then Mordechai Tzaddik, which is also coming from Shaul and Binyamin, okay, was fighting against Amalek, because only the kids of Rachel, which Rachel also did the same action to Leah, okay, she gave in, she was loving, she didn't.
Shaul came.
Huh?
King Shaul came from.
King Shaul came from Binyamin.
Binyamin.
Yeah. So this is this is the similarity. Another similarity that we see between Yosef and Esau. Esau was the materialistic man. He cared for the world. He wanted to consume. He wanted to have any desire that could happen. If it's women, if it's assets, if it's this. It looks like that Yosef was also like that, because he took care of the Egyptians' financial and this world and everything. However, the biggest difference between them was, who gives me, how am I successful, who gives me the power? Esau says, it's me, it's because of me, I have everything and it's me. Yosef said, no, it's all from Hashem. Constantly used to say, Biladai, Hashem Yaneh, it's Hashem, it's not me, it's Hashem. We see the difference. Think another thing, that similarities between Yosef and Esau, and only Yosef can answer. The biggest mitzvah that Esau had was kibud orim. He respected his father very much. But we see that Yosef also respected his father. When Yitzchak sent Esau to bring him offering, it says in the Midrash that Esau didn't find his offering. He was looking. For some reason that day he couldn't find it. In the end, it says that he brought him something, a dog, something not kosher to eat. This is how he respected his father? However, it says about Yaakov that send Yosef, lech ra'eh shalom achecha. Go and see the welfare of your brothers. Now Yosef knew and Yaakov knew that the brothers hate Yosef and they may do something to him. And Yosef could find all kind of excuses not to go. Okay? But he didn't refuse. He listened to his father, endangered himself, and went all the way just because he listened to his father. You see the kibud orim that he did over here, right? So this is why Yosef is the only one that could fight against Esau. Another beautiful thing that we see is Yirat Shamayim. Yosef testified himself, Et Elokim ani areh, I fear God. This is what he said. Ramban said that the fact that he was able to withstand this test of the wife of Potiphar is because he refused to her will. He was scared of her. She was above him. She was his master, yeah? And he was afraid of her because she could do all kind of stuff to him, but he afraid Hashem more. In the Gemara, Masechet Shabbat, there's a very strong story about Ukva bar Nehemiah. Ukva bar Nehemiah fell in love with a married woman. He fell in love. She didn't have anything with him, but he saw her, he saw that she was so beautiful, and he fell in love with her. And he became sick because of that. He knew that that the rabbis will not allow such a relationship, and he felt sick because of that. He became sick. So it says that one time she had a financial problem and she needed a loan. He was a rich man. She came to him once to get a loan from him. He told her, no problem, only if you listen to what I ask you to do. Because of her problem, because she was so much stressed out financially, in a way, she agreed. But she told him, you know something? You want to have a pleasure, but this pleasure, how long is going to last? Half an hour? That's it. Then it's gone. However, the stain on your neshama that you committed adultery will stay on this forever. Do you really need that? Never thought of it this way. He told her, you know something? You're right. He controlled himself and let her go. Later on, it says that whenever he used to walk in the streets, his face was illuminating so much, his face was shining, that everyone were shocked. Where is this light coming from? This light is the light of Or Ganuz, this hidden light that is kept only for tzaddikim, only for people that inside of them they stay pure. Okay? So he went through this very hard test. He didn't really have to let go, whatever, let's say, but he was able to control himself. They called him Natan Tzutzita. This is how they named him afterwards, because of this light that came out of him. Yosef worked on himself so much that he became, you see, when he was young, he used to speak slander about his brothers. However, he learned his lesson, and being alone in Egypt for so many years, he learned how to control his mouth. It says that when he saw the brothers later on, when he saw his father later on, he kept silent about what happened. How did he come to Egypt? How did he turn out to be a king over there? Or how did he come there from the beginning? It says that for all these 17 years that his father was with him, he never stayed with him alone. Because he was scared that his father is going to ask him, how did he get here? He didn't want to reveal, he didn't want to speak slander about his brothers anymore. See how strong was this person. He got this, by the way, this power of silence from his mother, because his mother kept her silence too. Never, told Leah what the great chesed kind of she did with her. Modesty. Modesty means he sanctified the name of Hashem secretly. No one would know if he would do the sin, if he would done the sin with Eshet Potiphar. No one would know. Okay? And he kept his eyesight. It says that whenever he used to, all the women, girls in Egypt wanted to get his attention. So they used to throw all kind of gifts on him. Okay? He never put his sight, he never looked at those ladies. Because he didn't want to look at those girls. One incident happened, okay? That the Osnat, that somehow turned to be in Egypt, Dinah was raped. Dinah, the daughter of Yaakov, was raped. And her daughter ended up to be in Egypt. How in the world Yosef was able to get married there? If not, of course, with Osnat. So she threw on him this talisman that she had, that Yaakov Avinu once gave to her. And he's looking at this and says, what is this? Inquired, and this is how he found to know who is Osnat. So let's go back to the first story. Remember Rav Moshe Pardo? He said, I thought that I'm here to help this person to put a tefillin. I never knew that I'm here to help my own institution. Did Yosef ever dream? Did Yaakov ever dream that the abuse that Dinah went through is only for the best? Whoever thought that such a thing could turn out to a blessing? In a way, in the end, he got married with her. Okay, he had Menashe and he had Ephraim. A beautiful thing. We think that we understand the conducts of Hashem. We don't understand anything. We don't know. We don't see. So it continues on and on. Let's finish with one thing. When he was in charge in the jail, okay, he saw these two ministers, Sar Mashkim and Sar Alfim, the butler and the minister of bakery, sad. He's telling him, why are you so sad? Somebody that is sad himself, somebody that is upset or is in a dungeon himself, he needs to think about other people. See how Yosef Hatzadik went out of his way to improve their moods. He wanted to make them feel good. And this is what brought him his own slavery eventually. Sometimes we do small actions, we don't pay attention how Hashem puts in our way certain things and how it could help us so much. 1945, World War II ended. And the Russians, the English, the Britain, the American, they put military courts to judge the Nazis that did all those crimes of war. Aaron was this man that was a survivor, and he was called to give a testimony also on Ricardo. Ricardo was a Nazi man that was a very cruel man, killed in his bare hands so many Jews, tortured, abused, did all kind of crazy stuff over there. The last thing that the way where Aaron was remembering him was from this death march that he was in charge of with another officer. They had to march thousands and not thousands, but hundreds of miles. They had to march from one camp to another just to torture them, just for them to die on the way, and they couldn't eat, and they couldn't drink, and they couldn't rest for a second. If somebody rests for a second, they shoot him on the spot. They lash him. They do all kind of stuff. So Aaron, he was built strong. He was looking for an opportunity to escape. And he found this opportunity. They went through next to a riverbank and take a deep breath and jump into the water. When Ricardo saw it, he started to run after him and shoot after him, but Baruch Hashem, nothing happened to Aaron. So Aaron was, under the water, deep into the water, and to his miracle, to his luck, he found a dead body in the floor of the ground of the river that was wearing, those prisoners' uniform. So quickly he pushed this, with all his might, this body upwards, and Ricardo saw this, thought that he's the guy. He started shooting him, and by mistake his leg got into the water, got wet. He got so upset, he started cursing, he started become furious and upset and angry. He pulled out his long boot, took out his wet sock over there, and but then what can you do about this? And that's it. He put it back on, and he took and went back to the camp, to this march, whatever. Aaron remembers that, and he tells it to the judge. He says, as he was pulling off this long boot, I saw that Ricardo had a birthmark in the heels in the shape of a diamond. Check it. So he ordered him, he demanded him to remove his boots. He didn't want, of course, to do it, but two soldiers came and pulled it forcefully, and then they saw this birthmark over there, and this is how they were able to execute him and to bring him to punishment, to justice. Sometimes small action, you don't even think that it's so important, but he saw this thing for a split second, he saw it, and this is, what he was able to testify against this Nazi. So, Parashat Vayeshev, what we're talking about is, we speak about three key figures in the Parasha. We speak about Yaakov. What did he want? He wanted to have some tranquility. He had such a tough life, running away from his brother, being by his father-in-law that kept chiding him again and again and again, fighting against the angel of Esau. Dinah was abducted. He wanted to sit and learn Torah. He didn't want to have pleasures in life and start having fun or something. No. Now he had this problem of Yosef. So why did Yaakov go through this? It says, Maaseh Avot Siman Lebanim, gives us tools how to fight against all kind of problems, teaches us what to do, how to relate to all kind of problems that we have. Then we have Yosef. Yosef went through so much tests, and then we speak about Yehuda. In the middle of this thriller about Yosef, they put the story of Yehuda. Who cares about Yehuda and whatever he went through now with Tamar, and his wife died, and his children died, and this and this and that. So there's a lot of things that we learn from this. And it looks like everyone is in darkness now. Yosef, Yaakov, and Yehuda. It says, Yaakov Yoshev Besako Anito. He's sitting and mourning about the loss of Yosef. Reuven was mourning because his father was upset at him. He was regretting and doing tshuva. Everyone sits and mourns over there, and Yehuda, he went to find a wife. And Hashem was sitting and creating the light of Mashiach. Because through the darkness, Hashem creates the light. And the light that comes through the darkness is the best light that it could be. And so Yehuda didn't understand what Hashem wants from him and why he had to go through these problems. But eventually, Mashiach was born from this. And Yaakov didn't understand why Dinah was abducted, why this problem. But through this, Yosef got married to Dinah. And Yosef also went through so much problems, but became Yosef Hatzadik from this. It's like a seed that you plant into the ground. It rots. And you say to yourself, why do I have to go through these troubles now? Why do I have to go in the darkness? Why I have to rot? But only through these, you start to have new life, and you start to grow, and you start to become a beautiful tree. And we say about Yosef, Tzaddik katamar efrach. Tzaddik, as a righteous man, he grows like a date tree. A date tree is a very, very high tree, very tall tree, and has good fruits. Why? Because a date tree, it takes a long time for this to grow, and you don't see the changes on the surface. You don't see all the changes underground, is when it's still in darkness. But this is what brings out this tasty, this sweet fruit, because of the process. So not only the results, also the process makes it a sweet tree. But we go now through Hanukkah. Hanukkah is also when everything was dark. What is the Yavanim? Yavan, it says, Yavan ze choshech. Yavan wanted to dark our life. They didn't want us to be spiritual. Yavan, the word Yud, Vav, and Nun is no, is beauty. They wanted to teach us an outsider beauty. Okay? Something that has no content inside. Okay? Work on your body, be beautiful, but how long it stays, or what exactly you do with this beauty, with this body? We in Judaism, we think about eternal life. We think about what can I do to help another person, not only about my beauty. So in reality came Matityahu and his sons and ignited on this light again that they wanted to darken so much. And they went into a war against this big, big empire. And you don't understand how this small group was able to win against this big empire. But again, this is our challenges. Darkness is an expression to confusion, to troubles, to all kind of challenges that you go through, all kind of tests, and the war against the Greeks in Hanukkah never ended. We're still fighting against those with these values constantly every day. Okay, and it touches today life too more than ever. So the biggest darkness, the rabbis say, is at dawn. Dawn is just before the light starts, okay? This is the biggest darkness. And this is when the galut starts. The galut is the darkness, and we are already in the end of the galut, just before the geulah, just before the dawn. So B'ezrat Hashem, what we have to do is to stand tall, like Yosef Hatzadik, to stand for our values, to fight for them, to know who we are, to have our good quality traits. And B'ezrat Hashem sees that, will see it, and bring us the redemption already quickly, speedily nowadays.
Amen.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.